Hi, if you're new here, my name is Aku and I'm a second year Neuroscience PhD student studying in London. Okay, so here's my plan for today. I need to sort out my OneNote and finally get organised. Last week I had a lab presentation and I was kind of really stressed about that, so I wasn't really keeping on top of my organisation, but now I finally have the time to sit down and do it. Then I have a lab meeting in the morning, then I need to go to cell culture, maybe do some general lab stuff, and maybe do some reading. I think is really important to stay on top of the reading. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, because at the end of the day, I'm going to a pancake day event, so let's get into it. Okay, I've made it to the desk, and before I do anything, I have to plan the day. I have our lab meeting in about 20 minutes, and the rest of the day will be pretty wet lab heavy. So I try to spend this first window in the morning just to orientate myself. Also, I think it's very important to write down everything you need to do that day before, just so you can stay on track and stay focused. Okay, so this brings me to a bulk of today's work, cell culture. And today I'm just going to check on my stem cells and feed my organoids. So if you don't know anything about working with stem cells, it's basically just babysitting. First, I need to check that they're actually alive. And these cells are kind of needy. If you miss one day of feeding or you don't give them enough media, they will die. Right now, I'm just checking their density and to make sure their morphology looks okay. And they do look pretty good, and that's a massive relief. So now I'll get to feeding my organoids. And for context, organoids are basically 3D mini brains made from stem cells, and we grow them in a dish to study neurodevelopment and disease. And because they are 3D structures, they do need a lot of nutrients. So what I'm doing is kind of simple. I just need to remove the old media and add the new media without disturbing the structure of the organoid itself. It's kind of repetitive, just pipette up and down and rotate the plate, but you cannot zone out. One wrong move and you can destroy the organoid, and you need to keep these long term, so if you do destroy them, this can be very, very frustrating. And it's kind of funny because sometimes when I go to cell culture, I feel kind of meditative, and other times I just feel like a lot of pressure. But this is where the data comes from, so you have to respect the process. Okay, so now I'm back in the office and it's time to update my tracking system. And I need to be really clear about this part. If you don't write it down in a way that future you can understand, the experiment might as well have never happened. My brain cannot hold all this information, so I like to rely on OneNote, and now I use this table to keep in track of my experimental process. I've set it up into columns for the date, the task, and the details of exactly what I did. But the most important columns here are, did anything go wrong, outcome, and next steps. And I also have a column for mood and energy. And now this might sound strange, but knowing if I was tired or stressed when I ran an experiment may help me to explain any weird results I get later on. Then I have a literature tracking table, and reading papers is needed in a PhD, but it's sometimes really easy to forget what you read. So here I track the paper title, the link, whether it's primary or secondary, and I have a column for a short description, interesting techniques, and then a full summary. And I can do a whole video about how I organise my notes later on. And as I was a bit early to the pancake day event, I decided to sit in a cafe and edit a video. And I tried to do all my editing in any free time I can get. So this event was actually a networking event for tech founders, hosted by my sister. Even though I'm not a tech founder, it was nice to talk to people outside of academia. And that's all from me for today. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more PhD advice and tips, and check out all my other videos. I'll see you in the next one.